Um, so I just want to introduce Sheri Thrower to everybody in this special Rediscovering Me interview. And Sheri is, amongst many
Uh-oh, I
other
think we
things,
froze
the
again.
author of Your Will Be Done, one of the books that we have on our resource site. So, Sheri, again, thank you for joining me this evening. And
You're
if I
welcome.
could I'd just like to find out a little bit more about the woman behind the Instagram profile. It states on your Instagram profile that you are mother. I like how you put mother first. That's a good one. Mother, producer, founder and director of Sing Academy, vocal coach, author, speaker, worship leader, and songwriter. So quite a formidable list there. Could you tell me maybe a little bit about the woman that's behind all those accomplishments?
Sure. I am a PK, and that means preacher's kid. So
Aha!
I come from a long line of preachers in my family. Can you hear me? Because it looks like we froze again.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'll just keep talking then, because the screen's frozen for me. But my dad's a minister, and his dad's a minister, and his brother's a minister. And on my mom's side, her dad was a minister, so I come from a long line of ministry people, and I'm thankful for that heritage. So I've grown up in the church, and so naturally I have a love for the word and for music especially. And I have really strong family, and they've been very encouraging. But I love to teach. I've always grown up wanting to do something in music, and I decided to become a teacher. And so I taught music in the public school systems in the USA for almost, it was over 20 years. And then I decided to go on my own because the opportunities were rolling in, and I couldn't do both. So I took a big step of faith to become self-employed and do what I do as a woman in ministry. And it's been a ride, but I'm doing what God's called me to do, and I love it. I really do.
That's the great thing. When you know that you've got God on your side, you can do just about anything.
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay, so you were saying, when did you actually start getting involved with music? Have you always been involved with music? Has that always been a key part of your life?
It has. I grew up singing in church because my dad was a pastor, and I think a lot of us who sing and are in the music industry have that story. So I was singing in the church, but when I was 3 years old,
Wow.
and then I started getting asked places to sing, and then that developed into doing studio work. And so I'm a studio musician and a producer and a director, and I have Sing Academy, which is a nonprofit organization that provides once-in-a-lifetime performing opportunities for youth. And so all of this has just evolved over time, and but it all originated in the church.
Wow. And so it goes back to that beginning of your profile where it talks about you being a mom, because I see a lot of what's been coming through on your Instagram posts are to do with the youth, as you say.
Yeah.
And so would you like to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, well, Sing Academy is a nonprofit organization that I started about 10 years ago. And the youth that I have in there now, it's a talent development program and a choir. So a lot of the kids that I have in this program, I have taught since they were in kindergarten.
Wow.
So now they're in college. And we're all going tomorrow to audition for American Idol here in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're leaving my house at 4 in the morning, and we'll be there all day till 5 in the afternoon till it closes. And to me, that's just fun. I know not many people would love to do that, but I will be with them. We have fun together. They're very talented. They're like my own kids. And my daughter was in the program, and you know, it's we record. We open we've sung at Radio City Music Hall, and we've opened for artists. We've been to BB King, got a second call back to America's Got Talent, and
wow.
I just really amazing, talented young people, and I just love it, and I love them.
Isn't it amazing as well how music sort of binds you together?
I think we froze again.
Yeah, I was just saying, isn't it amazing how music binds you together?
It really does. It really does. It's a common bond, and music's that universal language, and it's amazing how you can get everybody with different beliefs in one room, and you sing a song and it brings everybody together, and that's the power of music.
Yeah, absolutely. So taking one of your other hats, how did you become an author? Where did your book come from? Your Will Be Done. Can you sort of give me a little bit of background behind the book?
Yes, yes, and thank you for asking about my book. I had just started getting an interest in writing, and I would just write little things on my Facebook about my life or thoughts that I had. And one day, somebody I really didn't even know very well came on my Facebook, asked to be my friend, and they said, you should be a writer. And I thought, well, I've never really thought about that. But he said, yeah, you should write a book. Well, that ended up being my editor. And so I wrote My Will Be Done. It's a book for women. It's a devotional because there are things that we as women need to be done with. It's about the strong-willed women like me who are unbreakable but yet have been broken. And so things like some of the titles from my book is I'm done handing God the mop. So that means, like, I'll make a big mess in my life, and I'll just say, Lord, you clean it up. And the Lord comes back with his word saying, you have responsibility in this. Let's say that I hurt somebody's feelings, or I told somebody off and I just let it go. According to God's word, he says, go to your neighbor and make things right. And so we have responsibility in our actions. So that's one of the titles from my book, My Will Be Done. It's just surrendering the will to God. It's not something, when I wrote this book, that I feel like I've arrived at, and I make that clear in my book. It's a daily journey of what we as women and mindsets and toxic thoughts that we need to surrender daily. And I think it's just a daily journey that we're all on, and we're all in this together. It speaks about everything from our faith to relationships. And I really wrote it based on something that inspired me from my dad, because my dad's a minister, and he has Alzheimer's, and he can still preach. The Alzheimer's has progressed slowly, but my dad has unwavering faith. I have never seen my daddy stray from his faith. And he pastors a real small church in Georgia, and the ceiling was leaking, the roof was leaking in his church, and they didn't have the funds to pay for it at the moment. And I remember watching my dad in his church standing in the aisle, and he looked up at the Lord, and he looked at the ceiling. He said, I believe. And God provided for the roof to be fixed and everything. But I wrote a chapter in my book from that called I'm Done Having Alzheimer's Faith, because I tend to forget everything God has done for me and panic at the next tragedy that comes along. And I think I need to be more like my dad, and just, no matter what happens, say, I believe. I'm not going to waver in my faith. I'm not going to lose my faith. I'm going to stand strong on the word and what I know God has done in the past, because if he did it back then he'll do it now. And he's never failed me yet.
I know. That sounds amazing. Ah, wow. Okay. We all need some of that inspiration in our lives, Sheri. So that's an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you. I also have a chapter in there called I'm Done with La La Land, because we as women, we get in La La Land, especially about our relationships with men, and we expect him to be Prince Charming, and with no mistakes. And then we get disillusioned and disappointed when we find out that this person that we love has flaws, just like we do. And so we tend to expect La La Land and Prince Charming to just be handsome all the time and worship us and everything we do. And then when he comes up with mistakes, then we don't know how to handle it. So it's just, facing reality, giving up our strong wills about things, and becoming realistic about life.
So it's basically sharing your journey.
As a woman, yes. Yeah. As a mother,
yeah,
and as a Christian.
That we can all relate to.
Yes.
You shared a little bit just now about you're on your way to American Idols.
Yes.
So what other exciting things are on the horizon for Sheri Thrower at the moment? What else is coming up?
Well, I am just involved with a lot of things with youth, and I take them to Nashville. I'm a producer, so we go to Nashville and record. And I also have a new music company. It's part of my publishing company called The Grove. So I have artists who are part of The Grove that have written original music, and we call it Jesus music because a lot of times Christian music means a lot of different things to different people, but this is music that is emphatic about that it is about Jesus. It is about the cross and the blood and forgiveness and his love, and all of our songs state it. I think there's a lot of music out there that you don't know if it's being sung to a lover or to Jesus. And so, we're singing songs in churches that could be played on the radio, secular radio, or gospel radio. And so this is music that is emphatically about Jesus. And so it's called The Grove, Jesus music. We have our first song up on Spotify and iTunes. It's our first song is called Yet, and it's sung by my daughter. And one of the guys in Sing Academy was written by one of my songwriting students, Paula Taylor. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about where I see our youth going and training them to become producers like myself, and directors and arrangers and authors. And
right.
And I think that's where I see my life going, is becoming a mentor and keep doing what I'm doing and just passing the baton.
Wow. Sheri, it's quite amazing because I've been looking through some of your posts, as I said, and the amount of talent. Where are you finding these amazing young people?
Well, a lot of them came from when I taught school and the public school system, and quality draws quality. I have found that out. So if, being a businesswoman out here in this world, I found out that if you start with quality, and then, and I really tried to start my music program with quality voices, and then other quality voices join along and want to become a member too. So, but it all began in the school system when I was an elementary music teacher, and I just started from there and built my own little group because a friend of mine told me, he said, you need your own youth choir. Just start your own community youth choir. So I thought, well, why not? And I decided to call it Sing Academy, and we have a website, singacademy.com. But I'm just surrounded by really, really wonderful talent. Really, really awesome. It's just a gift.
They're amazing. So, ladies, if you're watching this and you haven't already checked it out, please check out Sheri Thrower over on Instagram and check out some of those amazing voices that are on there, because you're doing a fantastic job. I mean, it's just, like I said, my mind was blown as I worked my way. I'd listen to one and think, oh, this is amazing. Then I'd go on to the next, I was like, no, this one's amazing. So it went on.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Karen. And I'll meet with the kids tonight, and I'll tell them that you are listening to them and watching them. That will encourage them.
That's good. And Sheri, please, if you can let me have those addresses that people need to follow up with you, from the Spotify address and everything. If you send that through to me, then I'll make sure so that it goes on the website, on the resources page.
I sure will. I sure will. It's The Grove the Grove Jesus Music, my web address, personal web address is sherrythrower.net. And then we have singacademy.com, but I will send that in writing to you too.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'd like to just say thank you very much for giving up your time and sharing all of this with us, and all the very best with Idols. Please let us know how that goes.
I will. You know, just the experience alone will be worth it. It's so good to go to things like this and meet other people and hear the talent that's in our city, and it's a learning experience. So even, I mean, I'm hoping that we're represented, but if not, it's going to be a fun experience for these kids and something that we'll always remember. But thank you so much for having me on your show. And I love keeping up with you on Instagram too. And hello to all the wonderful ladies out there. They can order my book on Amazon.com.
Yes, they can. And also it's on our resources page on the Rediscovering Me website. It's on our resources page, so they can order it from there as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Sheri.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. And enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. Okay.